Welcome to It's Art, Let's Talk About It, a podcast sponsored by the Museum of Western Art in Kerrville, Texas. Located in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, the museum is dedicated to the preservation and promotion of the American West, especially through the art of the West. In this podcast series, we will visit with artists, art collectors, and gallery directors working in the Western art genre. We'll talk about the history and heritage of Western art, and we'll talk about why talking about Western art is so important. I'm Darrell, the Executive Director of the museum, and I'll be your host for It's Art, Let's Talk About It. The podcast is a member of the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network.
Today, Darrell is joined by Walt Gonske, who talks about his recent exhibit at the Museum of Western Art on churches from the Southwest and Mexico. I know you'll enjoy this.
Today on It's Art, Let's Talk About It, I'm joined by our good friend Walt Gonske. And Walt, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Sure.
And thanks for being in Kerrville.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. We first started a conversation about doing a showing of your work about a year ago or so, and we had talked about doing it in the late summer, fall of 2026, and some things got changed around, and we were able to move it up to the current period in 25, and we picked up the art a couple of weeks ago and got it here to the museum and hung it on the walls, and gosh, it looks spectacular.
It really does. It's a lot of work. 69 paintings. That's a lot of work.
It's
to
a
get
show.
them here.
Yeah, it's a show about it. We call it Walt Gonske, the Church Series. And for those of you listening at home, playing along live at home, the images will be on the web, the links to the various different things that we reference, and the catalog book live on the web and things like that. But the show's called the Church Series. But before we get into the actual Church Series, let's talk about Walt. Let's talk about, were you one of those guys who you were painting when you were 3?
Pretty much, or drawing anyway.
Yeah.
When I was 3. Yeah, that's what I did to entertain myself. I'd copy comic book series. I'd just copy Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse drawings and just try and duplicate the cartoon. So I was doing it right away from the very beginning.
Where'd you grow up?
In Irvington, New Jersey.
Irvington, New Jersey. So
Yeah.
northeastern boy.
Yeah.
Up there near New York.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, and then I went to. I didn't go to college. I went to altogether 6 years of art school, and then went to New York. And when I was in my mid-20s, and got involved in men's fashion illustration.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I was freelance, and I would pick up the clothes from the department store and go back to my little hovel in the West Village and do the drawing, hand it in the next morning, and then 2 or 3 days later, my drawings would be in the New York Times. It was kind of a kick to be doing that for those maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I had my sister left New York before I did, and she took off to see the country from east to west, and she wound up in the Taos ski valley for the winter of 70, 71, and I came out to visit her with our folks, and just fell in love with Taos and Santa Fe, and I couldn't believe how much of the artwork out here was representational work, and
You mean the art in Taos and Santa Fe?
yeah, as opposed to abstract work or non-objective work, and that was my training. My training was pretty traditional, so I thought maybe I could go back out there. Maybe I could go live there and maybe even earn a living painting pictures.
How much were you making in New York City?
$15,000.
Yeah, $15,000. Wow.
And that we're talking about the late 60s. That's right. Yeah, and it was enough. I had a rent-controlled apartment. Must have been 10 feet by 30 feet, like a railroad boxcar.
But you were one of the madmen, one of those guys, the ad guys, right?
That's right. It was the West Village, and some of the young people that were starting to make it lived there, and the people that lived in the East Village weren't really making it yet. So I came out, and it was just a leap of faith. I didn't have a clue about whether or not I could actually earn a living at it.
So you just quit a job.
Yeah.
Perfectly good job in New York City.
Well, it was all freelance, so I had to go around and tell about 10 or 12 clients that I'm out of here. I'm leaving town, and I won't be back. And they didn't like it because they were starting to really count on me to do the work, and I was fast. I could get the work done quickly.
What kind of work was it? I mean, you said men's fashion, but drawing models or paints?
Well, it was drawing models. They'd give me the clothes, and I'd do a drawing on a person. I mean, it was just not the clothes alone, and it was mostly just black and white reproductions. I'd work on illustration board.
Okay.
And handed in each drawing. Maybe I'd get something like $75 to maybe $90 for each drawing. So I just survived. I just made it. But I didn't go into debt in New York. I was able to make it all work.
But after your visit to Taos, you thought, maybe I can make a living out here. Maybe I can.
Well, I didn't have a clue about whether or not I could.
But you knew you wanted to live out there.
That's right.
What drew you to Taos?
Well, my sister first got me out here, and I just loved it, and I loved the fact that Taos and Santa Fe both had a lot of galleries showing representational work. So it worked out great. I mean, I was so afraid of failing and having to go back to New York that I just hit New Mexico running. I just really worked very hard.
I understand you rented a little one-bedroom?
Well, it was a little adobe house out in Canyon, east of Taos, about 3 miles. And I rented from a little Hispanic lady, Mrs. Olguin, and I didn't realize it, but I had two strikes against me right away when I pulled up to this house that had a little for rent sign on the window, and so I went over and knocked on the door next door, and Mrs. Olguin answered, and so we visited, and she told me that she had a lot of trouble with Anglo hippies in the past.
This would be the early 70s. What year was this?
Well, 70, 72. Yes.
And you were how old?
I was still 29.
29 years old.
I was 29 for 25 more days, and that turned 30.
Just right under 30.
Yeah, right. But she said that she had a lot of trouble with Anglos because she had 3 or 4 properties, and kids would come in and they'd rent one of her places, and then they'd leave and in the middle of the month and not pay the rent and take the key with them, and so she took. My hair was longer, my mustache was bigger, and I came in with a 1970 Ford van full of all my stuff. So so I told her, I said, Mrs. Olguin, I've got $4,000 in my wallet. That's all I've got in the world. How about if I give you $1,000 right now, and at least you'll know that you have 10 months rent.
Yeah.
And then if I can't make it, then I'll have to go back east. So we talked some more, and she said, well, you hold on to your money. Just give me the first month's rent of $100.
She trusted you.
Well, she said, you're on probation, though. if you start throwing wild parties, and if the neighbors start complaining about you, then you're out of here.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to give her a second month's rent as collateral. I just so I stayed, and 2 years later she told me that I was okay. The neighbors approved.
There you go.
And I
got her blessing.
I could stay as long as I need to. So I stayed for 7 years.
Did you really?
And yeah,
It was August, yeah.
And then and she told me that well, in that time I was able to buy a piece of land, 2 acres.
Right. Where you are now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all I could afford was the 1 acre, and but then the fellow I was going to buy from, he said that I just happened to be fast enough on my feet just then, and I said, John, how would you feel about trading for the 2nd acre? And he said, there's a long hesitation on the other end of the line. I thought I lost him, and he said, yeah, I guess we could do that. So I just kept showing him new work as I did it until
You found one he liked, and
well, more than one,
more than
because
one,
back
actually.
then my prices were really low. So I must have showed him. He probably bought maybe half a dozen paintings to pay off that $2,000.
Right.
And it was great. I'm glad I got the 2 acres instead of just the one.
The Taos in the 1970s.
Yeah.
Not as big or as popular as it. The ski resort was up there.
That's
Pueblo,
right.
And it wasn't the happening place that it is today.
No, it was pretty quiet back then.
Quiet.
And I still love it, but a lot of views of the landscape are now blocked by so many buildings, metal buildings and homes.
Yeah, I first started going out there in the 80s, and it's different
Yeah.
today. And you and I talked about that the other night at dinner. The sky seems a little different.
Yeah, well,
What do you think that's true? I mean, when Blumenschein and Dunton and Sharp and Cowles and all those guys, they talk about the magic
right
aspects of the light in Taos.
Sure.
It's still magic.
Right.
But is it not as magic?
Well, I just remember how it was. The jump between light and shade on any object was just really extreme. I was raised back east, so if we're talking about 10 values, back east, the jump between light and shade was maybe two values.
3 values, yeah.
And out here, I right away I could see that contrast. It was more like 5.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. And the sky was so blue, and the streams, the reflection from the sky into the water was so damn blue. I just could. And now it's just not like that anymore. 50 years later, it's just the Taos Mountain doesn't ever get as the cast shadows on that Taos Mountain aren't what they used to be.
Not
for
as
sure.
crisp, maybe.
Well, the values are closer together, and there's a softness to everything. It's not as sharp. I use the word electric.
Okay.
The electric light. It's just not like that anymore. But when I paint, I try to put some of that.
That old value back in there.
That's right. Yeah. Put that jump between light and shade back in there.
So 1972. You were 29 years old.
Yeah, February 1st.
Little money in your pocket, but not enough.
Not a
you
lot.
burned your bridges in New York. You were.
That's right. I was here to stay.
You were in Taos to stay.
If I could just make it.
What kind of paintings were you doing at that time?
They were watercolors.
Okay, so you were watercolor early on.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to jump into the fine art market. I didn't know how to price my work, so I started doing always full sheet watercolors. That's about 22 by 30 inches.
Okay.
And including a frame, we're talking about a painting that's maybe 30 by 40 inches. And I just jumped in asking $150.
No kidding.
And
I got $500 in my pocket. I gave you 3 right now.
And the gallery back then was taking a third, so that's $100 to me.
Yeah.
So I had to sell a lot of paintings at $100 to.
And subject matter was the landscapes.
It was the landscapes around Taos.
And that's what you've always done.
That's right.
That's all I've ever known you to do. Although I have seen nudes.
Yeah.
And I've seen figuratives,
Right.
still lifes and things like that of your work.
Still lifes that I put out on the market, not so much the figure work. I did that mostly just for myself.
Right.
I did have one show of my figure work in Taos, and it was pretty well received, but I just never tried to mix that up with my landscapes, with my galleries. I just tried to keep them separate.
Do you remember your first gallery?
Yeah, it was the Brandywine in Albuquerque.
Okay.
My sister, after she left the Taos Ski Valley, she wound up in Albuquerque living. Okay. And when I came out to visit her before I actually came out to live permanently, I took a bunch of photographs of around Taos. And just for the hell of it, it was my first attempt at fine art because I was still doing the men's fashion illustration. So I did 4 watercolors of the landscape around Taos, got them framed, and shipped them out to my sister and asked her to just take them around to any galleries there in Albuquerque and see if they could get me in on assignment.
Right.
So she did. She did a little research and found out that the Brandywine, right there downtown Albuquerque, was probably the best gallery in Albuquerque at the time.
Gallery, yeah.
So she walked in, and she was a good-looking girl, and she still is actually. But she walked in with those 4 watercolors and got me in on consignment, and called me and told me about it. And then about 3 weeks later, I'm picking up my mail there in the West Village, and there's an envelope from the Brandywine. I opened it up, and there's a check in there for $66.67. The sale of my first sale ever, a fine art sale. I wasn't even up to $150.
So $100 painting, you get $66.67.
That's right. And I couldn't believe it. Wow, a fine art check. So that was it. I mean,
you knew you had arrived at that point.
I'm going because I carried a.
That's so great.
I couldn't decide. I was on the fence about coming out here, and I finally got a piece of yellow ledger paper and put a line down the middle and
put on one side.
On the side to stay back east, there would have just been my family and friends and what I was doing, and then on the other side, it was just a long list of possibilities, I guess, And so whenever I got shaky about the idea of coming out here, I'd look at that list and realize that, if I don't make this move, it'll be a form of dying. I just needed. And then when I got that check, that did it.
Push you over the edge.
And I was gone.
$67 is all it took to push you over the edge. Right?
That's right.
So you packed everything into your car.
Everything I owned in the world got put into that 1970 Ford van, and a good buddy of mine helped me load up. Drawing board went in there, and some lighting, and a projector, an opaque projector. It just really filled up. But
you drove all the way to Taos, New Mexico, got an apartment or a casita.
Right, a little adobe house. Yeah.
House, yeah.
And then it took me 7 years to buy that land, punch a well, and save. I think I saved $15,000 and went to the bank and borrowed 40 more. I've never borrowed money ever, and so for $55,000, I was able to build the first part
of your house.
Yeah, the kitchen and the studio and a connecting greenhouse, and then about 12 years later, after I was starting to do okay, I was able to add on 1,200 feet to the west.
It's a go-to place where artists come for workshops
Yes.
Like Kevin McPherson teaches a workshop, and
Yeah.
he'll bring the artist out there to paint your garden and walls. And,
That's right.
And all of that.
Yeah, well, I've had many different instructors bring their class out to my place one of the 5 days, because they're usually 5-day workshops, and so one day everybody comes out to my place, and since I don't have to do anything, just make sure the door to the casita bathroom is open for the class. And I just walk around like a big shot and talk to everybody, and just
you are a big shot.
and just
been there ever since.
Just put in my 2 cents.
And you came by yourself, no girlfriend, fiance, wife, lover.
No, it took me a long time to figure out that
that's a bold move for a single man is 29, almost 30 years old.
But
to
if
make a step like that.
Sure. Well, if I had been married, though, I don't think I would have been able to make the move.
Yeah.
I don't think I had just enough confidence or nerve to do it alone. But if I had a family started,
it might have been different.
I would have just probably stayed back east.
And our lives would have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realized that I really like to be alone most of the time. and that being the case, it's not conducive to being married.
And you've you're a bachelor by choice.
Yeah.
And I say that, but you've become known as somebody who does enjoy his solitude and being alone. And
that's right.
And doing your paintings and going where you want to go when you want to go.
Yeah.
You've embraced that?
Being really spoiled by that. I don't have to ask anybody anything. I just go when I want to.
And just pile into the paintmobile, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But
yeah.
You get out there into Taos, and you 7 years, you finally build your own place. You're developing at that point relationships with other artists in the area.
Sure.
I'm fascinated by the Taos Six, always have been.
Uh-huh.
We're going to put a picture on. We have a picture on our website, of the Taos Six. And
sure.
Talk about those guys. You and the other 5.
Yeah. Bob Daughters and Rod Goebel.
Okay.
Ron Bersano.
All known names.
Julian Robles.
Right, Robles.
Yeah. And myself. Did I miss one? I don't think so.
Yeah, you missed one. Robles, Goebbels, Gonske.
Ron Bersano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll post a picture
Okay.
of it. But yeah, because there's a great photograph in our exhibition of you and the Taos Six, as we called it. And
right.
That group stayed together for a couple of years.
Well, about 3 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, we.
And your purpose for forming was what? Why did you get together?
Well, because Ray Vanella realized that we probably could maybe get noticed a little faster if we formed a group than we could alone. So over lots of coffee, we just came up with.
Well, and there's history for that as well in Taos, right? I mean, you got.
That's right. Well, the Taos Founders.
The Taos Founders group included Dutton and
all those guys.
And Sharp and
sure.
Taos and, yeah.
And they stayed together for quite a while, but I think built into something like that, there's a time bomb, and it's going to go off sooner or later.
Well, we noticed that with the Cowboy Artist of America here at the Museum of Western Art, back when we were at the CA Museum. You get a group of 25 in this case,
sure,
type A personalities together, and the clashes begin, and
sure.
they're still to this day. They're a great group, and but it's hard to keep a group.
Sure.
There's a lot of personalities in a group.
Sure.
Yeah.
Somebody's pushing hard to really grow hard, fast.
Yeah.
And Rod Goebel maybe was the one in the group that was pushing the hardest, and the rest of us were working too.
But all gone, except for
you.
Ron
Bersano and myself.
Bersano and you are the only two that are remaining from that group. They went past.
Yeah.
That's been 50 years.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, it's strange to say that, but it's.
Do you remember that point in your career where, and I've asked this question of other artists, and the answer has been, no, I'm still not there, where you felt like maybe I've made it, I'm successful,
Well, yeah, it was a shock when I realized that this is working. I'm actually going to.
I'm not going to have to go back to New Jersey.
Yeah. And I naively, I think I said that I was making $15,000 at the end of my time in New York, and I just thought, well, if I could make even $15,000 a year in Taos, and just survive on that would be terrific. That would be fine, and not have to get a second job. Just be able to paint
full time. Right?
Yeah. So it worked out a whole lot better than that. And
you've done well with
I'm pretty pleased with how it all worked out for me, for sure.
That's pretty cool. All right, one of the things that fascinates people every time we talk about Walt Gonske is the paintmobile.
Uh-huh.
And I had a chance to stand in the paintmobile with you, get my picture made. And it's a unique painting environment. Right?
It is,
it's been written up in magazines. It's been talked about by a lot of people. But talk about the paintmobile and how you came across this unique painting vehicle.
Right. Well, a friend had the first one, Doug Higgins, and I saw his setup, and I thought I'd like to try it. So the first one was a 1985 Ford van, and I had an extended fiberglass roof put on it so that I could stand up in there. And then in the blank walls of that extended top, I had sliding glass windows put in three sides. Right. And so I could just stand up in there.
You're a tall guy, right? People
I was 6'4" back then.
Yeah, 6'4" back then.
I've lost 2 inches somewhere.
Maybe really, but yeah. So you had to have something big enough for you could stand up and paint comfortably.
That's right.
And the windows were up at your eye level.
That's right. And so I was out of the wind and the rain and the snow. I mean, it was.
Was that the goal? Was just to be able to paint year round?
Yes, that and just having a bit of privacy, and also it saved my eyes because I wasn't really out there in the glare of the sun.
Okay.
So I still remember the first painting I did. I knew about a farm just south of Taos in Pilar, and it was a really, really nice farm, and on the property or close to was a little church, and I just loved that property. But it wasn't paintable from where I could see it. But when I went out for the first time with this first paintmobile, there was a spot that I could stop and paint, except that there was a pretty high fence, so it's just standing on the ground. I wouldn't be able to see this composition. But with this brand new first paintmobile, I could look over that fence and see the whole thing. So I painted there. I just was able to get off the road enough, off the pretty narrow paved road onto a dirt gravel right next to the fence, and paint away. And the painting came out really well. And I thought to myself, this is terrific.
Yeah.
I'm out of the sun directly, and
you don't have to haul your crap all out.
That's right. It's all right there. I had a tabaret and with an easel attached to it in the back, so I could roll it around. So I could set up looking out of any one of those 3 windows, depending on where the best composition was. And so I just was sold right away on it. And then people don't bother me either. I mean, most people are nice, but occasionally, before I got the first paintmobile, we're talking about 72 to 85. Those 10 years, almost 10 years, I was just out there in all kinds of weather with what's called a French easel.
Right. People just walking. You're painting plein air.
Yeah.
And people are walking up to you, and they can look over your shoulder. And
that's right. Yeah. And so I love that to begin with. I love being able to go out and paint directly from life, and I got
Most of your works are done from life, right?
Yeah, a lot more than half. Sure,
okay.
Sure.
Plein air, as they call it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
From the paintmobile, it allows you the freedom to keep your solitude if you want.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're up a little higher.
Right. I only had one woman who lived down there in Pilar, where that first painting was done. She actually came in the side door of my paintmobile.
Okay, just came right on in.
Uninvited. I've gotten to know her and like her, but
Funny.
Otherwise, people just leave me alone. And I've been places like I love to paint the ocean, and from Monterey all the way down to San Simeon Castle, about 120 miles south, is a really great stretch along the coast.
Right.
And there are quite a few pullouts right along the coast on the right, going south on the right side.
Right, so you can paint the rocks.
So I could get the paintmobile really close to the edge.
Wow.
And look up or down ocean and just paint right there. But every 20 minutes another bus is coming by with a whole bunch of folks that are going to want to look at that view. So they all pour out and come out to look at the view. But I'm in this enclosed space and they don't know what I'm doing, so they just leave me alone.
But if you were out there on your feet,
that's right, with a French easel.
I've seen that a lot of times at paint outs with this, the artists will spend more time having to talk to the people who are wanting to know about their art.
That's right. Yeah,
than they are actually able to paint.
That's right. So it's so this is the fourth one.
You have four now. You're on paintmobile number 4.
That's right. And each time it gets better. I mean, this one.
You keep redesigning it.
That's right.
Right. I've noticed that. Yeah.
So this one's got an all aluminum box on the back. It's a Ford van and chassis.
Right.
And then I took that to the previous the third paintmobile up to this company in Henderson, Colorado.
Right.
And with drawings for the next one, and asked them if they would
modified it, made it better. You got
and this is the first one that's all aluminum, so it'll hold up forever. So if I lived long enough, I could take this box off this powertrain.
Well, you're going to live long
enough. Put it
enough,
on the next one. Well, I don't know.
Hope you have paintmobile number 6 and 7 and 8. Just keep right on going with them.
Well, 2 guys are already fighting for this one after I'm gone.
The podcast is called It's Art. Let's talk about it. Our guest today is Walt Gonske. And Walt, I want to talk about your techniques a little bit. Everybody who's come in to see this show talks about the bright colors. Mm-hmm. I mean, just incredible contrasts of colors. And as much as anything, the amount of paint.
Yeah.
You like paint.
I do. Well, I'm not in this business to save paint.
That's a great way of putting it. But you call it painting. It's painting not thin, but you use.
Yeah, I'm just.
The formal term is
really
pasta, right? But I mean.
Yeah, I'm just really moving fast. I mean, and I try to finish a painting. I can't always do it, but I try to finish a painting in one go. Do
you really, even the big ones?
Well, for the most part.
Talk about that. I mean, you told me a story about you started out small and then you moved to that next size.
That's right.
And it was a stress to.
That's right. Yeah, I did. When I first started painting from life outside, I was painting just like roughly 9 by 12s, and everybody does that.
Right.
The way it was taught to a lot of students is you do a small one on location,
then go back to the studio.
Take a photograph for reference, and then paint a major painting in the studio. And I did that first. So I did small ones first, and then I did some big paintings, going back 3, 4, 5 times to the location, and hoping that the weather would hold for 5 days. So if it's a bright,
light changes, the clouds are different.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did a number of paintings large that way, and then realized that I don't like this. I don't like having to go back so many times. So I thought I'm going to see if I can't train myself to paint larger on the spot. So I'm doing 12 by 16s or 9 by 12s, and jumped to 12/16, and that was overwhelming at first until I finally got good at that, and then I just kept raising the size until I was able to do a 30 by 36 or so in one go. I couldn't always finish in one go, so occasionally I'd have to go back to work on it some more.
Let's talk about this series that we have on exhibition at the Museum of Western Art. It's called Walt Gonske, the Church series. It's been around for a while, but what fascinated you about the campos and the camposantos and the churches in situ? I mean, facades, the churches in the landscapes,
right? The
details inside the church, the cemeteries,
right?
But what's your fascination with those things?
Well, they are beautiful. The churches in northern New Mexico. Every little village has got their own church, and it's a great center of interest, for one thing. I mean, a great focal point for the painting.
Right.
And so I just was drawn to them right away. The churches in general, and then and the camposantos, the graveyards. I grew up back east, and the graveyards back east are very more organized, very symmetrical. All the gravestones are all in perfect rows,
facing east, and
yeah. And when I came out here, I mean, it's just not like that. The churches are not, the gravestones and the graveyards are not organized at all. It's just kind of
but colorful.
Colorful, yeah. Plastic flowers on the gravestones, and in wintertime, all those plastic flowers are just wonderful out there.
Right.
I didn't really the first camposanto I saw was one of the Taos 6. Rod Goebel did one, and I thought, my first reaction was, well, that's kind of an odd subject to do. I mean, nobody's going to buy that.
But they have.
But they have, yeah.
And
so, but I saw the painting that he did, and I thought the painting was terrific. So then I thought, well, then I wanted to do it.
You've been doing this series for a number of years.
Number of years altogether, yeah. So maybe 30 years worth of work, yeah.
And there have been other exhibitions of it at mostly galleries.
Yeah, but never all together. I've never seen this body of work ever hanging together. And it just blew my mind to see it all together.
Is that right? Here is the first time you've seen it together in one spot.
Yeah, it's all been just 2 or 3 pieces at a time seen together. I never. This is the first time. Yeah.
Really, I'm so honored to be a part of it, and I hope your impression of it is a good one, right? I mean,
it sure is. Yeah. No, it's wonderful.
People have been really, pretty blown away by it. I mean, I've got a lot of collectors and friends in the area who, when I told them I was going to do 69 works of churches by Walt Gonske, it was just, I don't know, it just seems like, but boy, you see them in one place and it just, it's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Very impressive.
Well,
let's talk about, because you've had a good career, right? I mean, you've had a successful career. By any measure, you're considered to be one of the, if you will, deans of the Western landscape, right? And the Impressionism, right? I mean, you're one of those respected guys that talk about. This podcast gets listened to by a lot of young people, right? We have 4,000 listeners at any given time.
Sure.
And in our surveys of them, a lot of them are new artists. And one of the things they really kind of get from this is advice. What would you tell a young person in the art business today?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think probably the biggest single most thing would be to, as much as possible, paint from life. Go out there and buy a French easel and go out and paint from life, as opposed to getting hooked on working from photographs.
Right. One of the things that we see in the academies that we teach here, the art academies for young students, is they can't edit. Right. They look at a photograph and they're painting from a photograph.
Yeah.
And they're painting the telephone pole in the back of the guy's head.
Right. Right.
And it just doesn't. It's not the same. So
Sure.
paint plein air. Go out and paint for life as much as you can.
What I've seen, when I've seen over the years, I've gone out on a few groups with different. I've been gone down to Mexico with art groups, and I usually, I don't. I'm not the teacher. I just go along with the group.
Right.
But I got the biggest kick out of seeing some of the students. They're painting on the spot, but they've got an iPhone.
iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, with the iPhone, and they take a photograph of the scene that they're going to paint, and instead of looking out at the scene, they're painting from the iPhone. But they've got a perfect rectangle. The scene's right there. I get the biggest kick out of that. Instead of just painting what's in front of you. Don't be looking at the phone.
Other advice that I've had people give, Ron Riddick, for example, Grant Redden, when I've interviewed them, they've talked about repetition.
Right.
Just paint.
Sure.
Is that important? Paint?
Yeah. Just paint. I mean, when I got so hooked on painting on location. Right. Now it's called plein air painting.
Plein air, right.
And that means finishing the painting in one go, wet into wet.
Right.
So the painting is wet the whole time you're painting it.
Live on the location.
That's right.
Right.
But I've been around a long time, and so we used to call it painting on location, painting on the spot. Right. Same thing. It's all same meaning. But that's the biggest, most important thing that they should be doing to really see, because a photograph, unless it's a really good photograph, it's going to be off in value or off in color, and then the student
depth perception is not going to be the same.
And just copying all those mistakes, all those things that are wrong in the photograph. But if you're out there painting directly from life, you're seeing seeing all the color and seeing all the values. I want to say one thing about the way I paint now on the spot. I try to. Most artists don't work this way. Usually, painting is a 2 or 3 step process. There's some kind of a drawing first.
Right. Block it in.
And then a block in, putting in simple light and shade of each object, and so there's continuous work to be done to get to a finish. But because I've been painting so much on location, I've been able to put down finished paint right on the bare canvas. I mean, it's not, canvas isn't bare; it's already prepared white canvas.
Right.
But so each stroke is a response to my emotion in that moment. And so I put that stroke down, and that area is done. I don't have to go back to it a second time or a third time to correct it. It's already finished. So people looking at the work, finished work, see all that, a record of all those moments and all that excitement in the paint itself. So the painting is as much about that excitement and in the paint as it is about the subject matter. So many paintings are about the subject matter and not about how it's painted. I don't know if that's clear, but that's a big part of what the people that do respond to my work, I think that's what they're getting out of it. They're responding to that record of all those moments during the process.
You mix your paint on an easel? Right?
On a piece of glass, actually.
Glass, right?
Yeah. And because it's so easy to clean.
Right.
It's just, I can get it nice and clean for the next painting.
I've asked you this question, but I'm fascinated the listeners need to hear it. How many paintings have you done in your career?
About 5,000
Really?
that I count.
That you've counted?
That I signed, varnished, and put in a frame and put out there on the market. I number them. But I started at 50 because I didn't want people to know that I was starting from a standing stop.
Really? You started with number 50. So
so it's not quite 5,000, but 5,000, that's about the...
Tell the story real quick, because I just now remembered you told me last night about delivering a bunch of paintings to a gallery, and they never made it to the gallery.
Yeah, that was that first gallery in Albuquerque. Okay. I showed with them a number of years, and they gave me a one-man show right away. I did.
So this is not your first one-man show? I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, obviously. You've had 40 something?
Something over 40 one-man shows.
Mostly galleries.
Mostly all galleries,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know how else to go about it. I mean, I realized that if I expected a gallery to promote me, the only way I could get that would be to give them, a 30 to 40 painting exhibition,
right?
And then we'd do an ad in Southwest Art or something to promote the show.
Right. So you took a bunch of paintings to this gallery.
Oh yeah, so
you're going to take your sister somewhere, or
that's right. Yeah, it was. I think that show was 47 paintings, and picked up my sister in Albuquerque, and instead of dropping the paintings off, we went to lunch first, and 45 minutes later, I come out to the back parking lot of the restaurant, and my truck's gone.
It's gone.
This was still the 1970 Ford van. It was before the first paintmobile, and just gone. The whole show gone.
They stole the truck, the show, and everything.
That's right. Yeah, and they took my rear view mirrors. They took my tape deck, and the paintings, and I had photographed all the work. I had slides of some of the paintings and black and white photographs of some of the others, and so I was just.
That's be devastating.
Yeah, it was. Well, every penny I had in the world was tied up in framing that show. To frame that much work.
Now the framing cost alone.
Yeah. And so I was expecting to sell enough to pay for the framing and get a little bit ahead. That's why I started doing shows right away, because it seemed like the best way to further my career, to just put work out every year and try and do a show. So I went back to the gallery and explained what happened, and later I gave them photographs of all the work, and they gave all that to the police. And I found out later that the police thought that it was some kind of a publicity stunt.
Really?
Yeah, and so they weren't trying very hard.
And you never got the van back?
I did get the van back.
You got the van back, but not the paintings.
Not the paintings, yeah. And I got the van back minus the tape deck, rear view mirrors, and no paintings. And so I called up a number of galleries that gallery in Arizona, one in Utah, one in Colorado, one in Texas, one.
And you've never seen those paintings since then?
Never seen any of them. Yeah, right. So,
that's tragic.
So I really took a beating for 6 months, because I mean, no money at all from all those works selling. And just.
So when I rolled out of Taos with $1 million worth of your art, you were hoping I wouldn't get robbed, right?
That's right. I was real happy to hear that you were going to stop at a friend's house on the way home.
Yeah, no, we don't go down the road advertising, and we've got valuable art.
Right.
And I stop for lunch. I stop right where I can see the van right there. We're not gonna.
Yeah.
But that's a fascinating story.
Yeah. So I try not to stop with paintings in the van at a motel. I try to get where I'm going in one shot.
Yeah.
So
that's fascinating. It's been a hell of a career, hasn't it?
Sure has. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
No regrets.
No. I mean,
you just painted, and you've enjoyed life. And
yeah, it's been wonderful.
And we've got 175 people showing up tonight to
Yeah.
to meet the great Walt Gonske. So that's got to be encouraging to know that people like the work enough to they'll come.
Sure, I'm looking forward to it.
The show is called Walt Gonske, the Church Series. It runs until November 8th, 2025 at the Museum of Western Art. And you just can't wait to see this work. I mean, I've got artists flying in from around the country, your contemporaries and others, younger artists who've admired your work, and they want a chance to meet you. And one of the questions I get asked, it's almost reverent, is he going to be there? Is Walt going to be there? Yeah, well, it's going to be there. That was one of the conditions of doing this.
Right.
So we want a chance to do a podcast, want a chance to put out the book, and
Sure.
all of these links will be at the bottom of the page on how to acquire the book and acquire your work, and ways to contact you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a great pleasure to know that you've been a part of the Museum of Western Art. What's next for Walt? I mean, one of the things we talked about moving this show up is you said to me, I'm not getting any younger. Right?
Well,
but you're in good health. You're in relatively good health
relatively, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of the biggest, maybe last highlight. I decided a number of years ago to not do any more one-man shows. So I'm just I've got 6 galleries that represent me.
And it's probably hard to keep those.
And that's enough.
Yeah.
So I wasn't planning to do anything else as big as this until you invited me to show here, and so I decided to might as well. So
one of your big supporters and mine, Bill Ray, Claggett Ray Gallery, has been instrumental in helping make this happen. Kevin McPherson, Steve Talley. There's been a lot of them. People who support and love your work and wanted this to happen.
Sure.
And one of the things we're trying to do here at the museum is put together good shows. Have good art on the walls.
Sure.
Well, we've certainly accomplished that with the Church Series.
Yeah. Well, it's different enough from most of the work that you have here.
Yeah. I mean, you can only see so many cowboys on a horse looking left or cowboys on a horse looking right. But to see the Church Series, the Camposantos series, I think is especially impressive to me. I love the church facades, the mission, San Francisco. It's just right down the road from us, and so that's fun seeing your interpretation of those.
Well, thank you very much.
Books are available, paintings are available. If you're listening to this and it's before November 8, 2025, come on out and see the show, because it is stunning. It's spectacular. It really is.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, Walt, thank you for joining us on the podcast. It's Art. Let's talk about it. The podcast is a production of the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network. Our special thanks to Andrew Gay for producing and for all of his work in making this happen. Tom Fox and the others at the Podcast Network. We're glad to be a part of it. It's Art. Let's talk about it. And that's